Coming up, Disney announces pricing and more details for the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser 2-night experience. The Hall of Presidents reopens at the Magic Kingdom. And also in pricing news, Disney announces the new Magic Key service, replacing the Annual Passholder program in Disneyland. All that and more on the way. This is Mickey Views News.
All who come to this happy place, welcome.
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me.
First up in the news today, the top story at this hour. Today, we got a new trailer for the Star Wars Hotel experience, known as the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, coming to Walt Disney World spring of 2022. This Star Wars themed experience is in many ways taking after the cruise line business model, where it's sort of going to be a themed cruise on land, where you're going to arrive at the building in an area Disney calls the terminal, and then the story goes, you depart on a pod up to a ship that is in outer space, where you'll live for 3 days and 2 nights, with the first and last day also being your arrival and departure days. You have a room on the Halcyon, that's what the ship is called, and you'll be taking an excursion to Galaxy's Edge on an elaborately themed bus, which will drop you off over by the First Order area in the land. Disney's been hard at work on building that port over there this year. Okay, so that's the new trailer, the new visuals that we got today. Now the big moment of truth. We've heard many rumors about the pricing spanning years back. How much is this going to cost? What will it cost to actually partake in this 2-night experience? Well, we finally know, because Disney gave us this graphic today of what the pricing starts at. If you notice, that's what it says on the top there, starting at. So this is the cheap pricing during the weekdays, in the parts of the year where there isn't a lot of demand. 2 guests in a cabin, a couple, will cost $1,209 per guest to do this experience. So for that one cabin, that'll total them $4,809 for that cabin on the Starcruiser minimum for this 2-night experience. And if you add more guests, as you can see, the pricing actually does get better per guest. If there is any silver lining here to the prices, it's that they're quite favorable towards families, where if you bring 3 guests or 4 guests, it's really not that much different. It's not costing you that much more than if you're just going as a couple, meaning bringing kids is not a problem here. And I think if you're a family of 4, where it's 2 adults and 2 children, the 4-guest cabin will actually be cheaper than the quote that you see here, because in this 4-person quote, 4 people in a cabin, it's counting 3 adults and only 1 child. So that is your first look at the official pricing from Disney on what we can expect from this experience, how much it'll cost. On the low end, we are talking $4,809 for 2 nights. That is what we are starting at here. And obviously over time, the rates will be going up, and also during, more popular times of the year, weekends, things like that, we can expect higher pricing as well. If this pricing sounds pretty outrageous to you, you're right, no doubt it is. But remember, the reason it's priced per guest, not per room, is because you're not just paying for a room, like if you're staying at some hotel around Walt Disney World. There are a lot of amenities that you're paying that are going to be included with you staying on the ship. And to that end, today Disney also gave us a sample itinerary for that experience, the things that will be included. This is the stuff that you'll be getting for the money. So 1 p.m. on the first day, you'll arrive at the terminal, the facade of the building. Then you'll embark on the launch pod, the simulator into outer space. And then you can see the rest of your day. This is a pretty packed schedule. You're going to be getting a lot for your money. Judging by this itinerary here, you have live entertainment, games, unexpected story moments, whatever that means. And then if you notice, during the full day on the Starcruiser, as we've expected, you're going to wake up and head straight to Galaxy's Edge. You're going to get some food there. You're going to get guaranteed entry to Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, one of the biggest in-demand rides at Walt Disney World. And you'll also ride the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. And then you're back on the ship for lightsaber training back on the Halcyon. So as you can see, this is not a normal hotel. You definitely will be getting something for your money, but not everything is going to be included in the price of entry. Disney gave us a look at the dining experiences, which you saw briefly in the trailer there. This seems like a big focal point of being on the ship. And one of the dining experiences is the captain's table, which is actually an addition additional fee on top of the money you already paid, that $5,000 you already paid, where you're going to be at sort of at like a chef's table with a special meal, special seating inside the Crown of Karelia dining room where you'll be eating. Disney gave us a brief look here on the dining page for the Starcruiser of the breakfast and lunch offerings that you'll have included. This includes small bites, sandwiches, soups, mini flatbreads, assorted salads, and sweets. And then as far as the regular dinner you're going to have each night that most of the guests are going to be partaking in, that's not an add-on, each of the 2 nights you'll have a completely different dining experience. The first night is going to have what Disney calls a Galactic Superstar, giving a musical performance, and you're going to have a certain range of food offerings there. And then the second night, you're going to have the Taste Around the Galaxy dinner, which will showcase different foods from around the galaxy as opposed to around the world, like of course you have during the Food and Wine Festival in Epcot. Look, how can you not see this stuff and at least get a little bit excited? It does sound like this is going to be extremely cool. There's also a lounge on the Starcruiser with holographic games and drinks. You also have the bridge, you have lightsaber training, you have the live entertainment. This really could be an awesome next level experience. I can really see it going either way. What I cannot see happening is this just end up being a so-so experience. You know, like people are like, oh, I kind of liked it, and it just does sort of okay. This thing is either going to be the most amazing thing ever, or it's going to fail, right? I really don't see it, you know, sort of being in between those two. It's going to be one or the other, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see. I will say, I do think Disney hit the sweet spot insofar as the length of the experience goes, where you're not on the ship so long, you're like, okay, how can I get out of this backstage warehouse I'm in here in Hollywood Studios? What am I doing here? So that's the pricing and the latest details for the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, the Star Wars Hotel, opening spring 2022. Let me know your thoughts. Next up, over at the Magic Kingdom, the Hall of Presidents has reopened, now featuring a segment with the 46th President of the United States, Joseph Biden. I want to clarify, everything I'm about to say here about the animatronics is about the animatronics. It is not a reflection of my thoughts on the politicians themselves or anything like that. We are talking about the Hall of Presidents, the attraction at Disney World. So the Hall of Presidents is back open, and I actually made it a point to watch the Hall of Presidents before they closed it. When Trump was still president, I hadn't been to the show in years, and it was a lot better than I remembered, and it's because they did this great update to the projection and the media that you see at the beginning of the presentation, that video portion they do. The sound design is amazing. That wraparound screen is amazing. The theater is deceptively large for being right behind Cinderella Castle in the Magic Kingdom. Remember, you also have the Abe Lincoln part, and just the fact that you're in a room full of animatronics, that alone makes it very Walt. And of course, if all that isn't enough for you, who doesn't love that air conditioning they have in there, right? And following the Donald Trump animatronic, which if you recall, did not look anything like him. Remember, people said it looked like it was Hillary. I don't know what was going on there. I think the Joe Biden animatronic here, the face looks a lot more like Joe Biden than Trump's looked like Trump. If you look at Biden, while the face I think is pretty good, he looks like a linebacker. It looks like his head is too small, and I think it's because the current president, whoever it is at the time, it's a special animatronic they use that has more range of motion than the ones that you see in the background, right? They redo the cosmetics for each president, so that might be part of why the current president always looks a little strange in comparison to everyone behind him. It's an interesting debate that's been had online, because if you look at the past presidents, when they do the roll call, the older ones, the faces look so good, and some people say maybe the faces just aren't done as well anymore. But I'm not sure if that's necessarily what's happening here, because what's even stranger is now that Trump is no longer the current president, his animatronic now looks a lot like him. It looks way more like his face than when he was the animated animatronic. Do you see what I mean? I'm not sure if they just redid the face entirely because there was a lot of criticism there, or if it's just something about that main animatronic because it has more range of motion and things that always just makes the current president look a little bit more strange than all the presidents you have in the background, which look absolutely amazing. So that's the reopening of the Hall of Presidents, now featuring the 46th President of the United States. I really like this show, and I think it's great to see Disney carrying on the tradition. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure you will. Last up in the news today, real quick, because a lot of people have been asking me to cover this. If you recall, Disneyland got rid of their annual pass holder program. Since Disneyland is reopened, it has not had annual passes. Now Disney has announced the replacement called Magic Key. And the way this works, if you look at the tiers here, is you pay for one of these different tiered keys, and the more expensive keys have fewer or no blockout dates, just like the more expensive annual passes did. And now the different level keys allow you to make a certain number of park reservations, giving guests the ability to book 6 parks at a time at the highest tier level. Now, the interesting thing here is, number one, the pricing is pretty ridiculous. In those cheaper keys, huge swaths of the year, you'll not be able to get into the parks. You'll not be able to get anything for your money at all. And the other thing is, we know this already, but the park reservations are going nowhere at the stateside parks. Disney is now selling the ability to make more park pass reservations as a perk of going to Disney. And we know why this is. The park pass reservations allow Disney to know how many guests are going to show up each day, how much food and merchandise they need, operationally, data analytics wise, crowd control wise. It's a boon for them. So it's going nowhere. And what's funny is this new Magic Key system really isn't that much different than the current Walt Disney World Annual Passholder situation. And here at Walt Disney World, annual passes have still yet to go back on sale for new guests who don't already have the annual pass. People who have an annual pass, they can still renew it, but Disney has not started selling new annual passes, and people are always asking me, when is it going to happen? I'd wager it'll happen sometime soon. Maybe Disney will similarly rebrand the pass holder service here at Walt Disney World, following what they're doing out in Disneyland, or they'll just keep the current branding, which I think is fine. I don't think it's something Disney really needs to worry about. No matter which way you shake it with this Magic Key, it's quite expensive and offers little to no spontaneity, which is what an annual pass used to be all about prior to last March. That's the latest news in the world of Disney today. Be sure to subscribe with those notifications on so you don't miss any future updates as Disney continues to fill back up the ranks cast member wise, which is very exciting. That means we'll see more amenities come back online. It sounds like parking trams might be returning soon. Everyone's had to walk the parking lot this past year, so it would definitely be nice to see the trams come back. Thank you so much for watching. From the Mickey Mouse Magic Studio, this is Brayden. I'll talk to you soon. Have a magical day.